In this Teesom video, we're going to talk to you about taking art through the Teesom process. We're going to start off creating a quote, quoting out the art process, and then converting that quote to an order and finalizing the art. All right, let's get started. We're going to head to the shortcut key at the top and start with a new order. We're going to be using the Oaks Golf Course here, and Sean Finley is our contact, so I'm going to click on his name. And Sean is going to be ordering product for their pro golf shop. So I'm literally going to type in polos for pro shop. And then the first job is going to be embroidered polos. Customer PO, if I have one, I can enter it. If we don't have one, well, then we can just hit the create button. All right, let's get started. Let's add the polo shirts that the customer wants. So we're going to click on catalog item. I'm just going to quickly add some white K500s. Okay, now that we've added the polo shirts in, the customer has told us what they want for the art on the polo shirt, but he needs some major changes done to his art. So let's go ahead and add what we're going to be doing. I'm going to click on New Imprint, and I'm going to let Teesom assign the design number. If you do have a sequencing of design numbers that you already use, then by all means, go ahead and type in your next sequence number. If you just want Teesom to assign that design number, then by all means, let Teesom assign it. And then I'll show you after we create this art what the design number looks like and how it comes about creating it. I'm going to click on the user-friendly description, and I'm just going to say polos for pro shop with the Oaks logo. Imprint location is going to be left chest. The imprint type is embroidery. I'm going to use my flats priceless. The number of colors is 3 colors. And then again, we're guesstimating the stitch count. So it's not really quite this, but it's not quite this either. So I'm just going to kind of go somewhere in between and say it's about 6,500 stitches. In the instructions, I am going to type a lot of things in here. As you can see, here's the logo that they're giving me, and then here's the logo that they want. So I've got a lot of things that I have to type in here for the instructions. So let's type all those instructions in now. Because I hit save instead of save and edit, I wasn't able to upload the image on the quote. So let's go ahead and do that now. I'm going to click on the hyperlink to the design number. And remember, this is the design number that Teesom automatically created. And let me tell you how it's creating it. The EMB represents that it's embroidery, and then the THE002 is my customer's account number. So if you ever want to try to find an invoice or the customer of who the artwork is for, you can always just take that and plug it into the quotes and invoice order list and find that particular customer. And then the 349 represents the 349th design that I've done in Teesom. Okay, so let's click on the hyperlink, and we're going to go back to the sales tab. And it's very important that you understand the difference between the quote image that you see here and when you're at the production approval content between the zoomed and the placement image. So again, I'm going to click back on sales, and I'm going to upload the image that the customer provided to me. So think of the sales tab is when the customer is providing me the artwork. And this is what he gave me, and then these are the instructions of what he wants to alter this to get to the final design. So this is where the artist is going to come and see what has been uploaded and then what are all the changes that need to be made so that they can create the final design for the art approval. This is not the final design, although if you're repeating an order, by all means, you can put the final design in there and just in the instructions say no changes from the last time. But if this is a brand new design and the customer does have instructions on how they want it changed, well then upload what they've provided you, type in the instructions, so when the artist is ready to create the art, they can jump back to the sales tab here, see all the instructions, see what the design is, and then go create the final design. All right, so for now, we're gonna hit save. We've got all the details in there. And now we can email this off to our customer. So I'm going to click on the send button and I'm going to leave all the options on here. All right, I'm going to click on the preview and send. If I want, I can add verbiage in here. Again, I'm just going to send it as is. So I'll hit the send button. And because I'm in demo mode, this is just going to come back to me. So I'll click on there. Here's the ready for approval on the quote. And we're going to click here to view the quote. So now the customer will get this quote, review it, and most importantly, he can click on the image here and pop it out to see it. And then he can see all the information that I typed in here. And then once he says, yes, that's exactly what I said when I spoke with you about how we wanted to change the design. So now he can go ahead and place the order. And again, once he sees this verbiage that we typed in, his confidence level in me doing this art correctly has just quadrupled. And then it's going to all be solidified when I send the art approval out. Okay, so I'm going to close out of the customer's view and we're going to go back to the job board. If I click on the new orders option, I'll now see that the Oaks is now a live order on our job board. Before we start working on the artwork for our order for the Oaks Golf Course, I just want to show you two areas in Teesom that will help you with your artwork. The first and foremost is from the main menu. You can click on the artwork drop down and this is your artwork list, and this is everything related to artwork. So this will just go on and on. This is all of your artwork. And of course you can filter. So if you click on the little filter icon, you can filter by customer, you can filter by the art stage, the imprint type, a date range, so many ways that you can filter the art here. If you click on the little lightning bolt, this is the smart list. So you can either say, click on the previously approved art to filter only by that, and then just click on that verbiage to clear it. You can also sort the art. You can sort by design number, sort by the date, or sort by recent pieces of art. So lots of ways to filter here. But let's talk about number one, the 3 images here, and what all you can do from the artwork list. So first and foremost, remember how we said one of the images is the quote image. This is the very first image that you see on the artwork list is always the quote image. This is what the customer provided us. And then the second image is the zoomed image, and then the third image is the placement image. And notice here on the Oaks Golf Course, we haven't created the zoomed and placement image yet. So all we've done is uploaded the quote image. So that's one thing that you're going to see from the artwork list. The next thing, nothing here can be clicked on. The only other thing that you can do is over here where it says has work in progress invoice link to it. This means that the order is at the work in progress. It's at the invoice stage, but as you can see, all we've done is uploaded the quote image, and we don't have it completed and it's not approved, so that's why it's saying active here. And notice some of these other designs are at the completed stage, and we've possibly emailed the art approval off for those. Really, the only other thing, two things actually, that you can do from the artwork list is, number one, you can click on the action button and you can hit edit to go in and edit it. So again, here's where I would go look to see what the customer provided us, and then jump back to the approval content to upload the zoomed or the placement image, and then add any of the other particulars to it. The other thing I can do is notice how this piece of art has the call out button is showing me that there's one note in there on this. It could be something that the customer sent me. It could be something that Teesom put a note in on. It could be something that the sales rep put a note on. So let's go find out what that is. So what this is I was the sales rep, and when I was uploading the sales quote image, I actually put in the order details, or the art details, I should say, those instructions from the customer. I put that it was getting the Axis logo and that we were doing it in white thread. The other thing I can do is, again, back in the action button, if I wanted to, I could delete this image, or I can duplicate it. So duplicating means I want to create a new design from an existing design. So when I click on duplicate, it now brings me back to create a derivative imprint. And this is the new from existing imprint option that you'll see in the order. So I'll cancel out of that. So the artwork list is nice. You can do a lot of searching from it. You can't really get interactive too much with it. The most you can do is pop the design out, or go into the action button and hit edit, or view the notes. But let me show you another area. I'm going to head over to the shortcut key, and I'm going to go to the task board. And on the task board, this is where you're going to have a little more interactivity with art. So let's talk about this first artwork in progress. So some of the things that you see here, let's just quickly right away kind of focus on this little area right here. So again, look how I've only uploaded the quote image, and notice it says it's active, meaning the art has not been finalized on our side like this art has, like this one. So anything that says green and complete means we uploaded all the mandatory images. So if I go to the action button and hit edit, you'll see nothing has been uploaded here, and I have not moved it to complete. So that's why this is showing as active, whereas if I go to this design, all the information has been filled out and it's been moved to complete. So that's the big difference right there. If I click on the WIP right there, this is the part I really like, is that you can see the invoice number that this particular art is related to, and you can click on the hyperlink to the invoice number and go ahead and open that art up inside the order if you need to see how it's related to the apparel items or anything like that. Let me go back to the task board, and I'll click back on the artwork in progress. Okay, so again, I like a lot of the things that you can see from the artwork in progress. I like that you can see the description of the design. Do not confuse this with the order description. This is the description of the design. And then over here, I can see that it's a left chest. We quoted this at 6,500 stitches. It's a 3-color design. And then it's telling me when I created the art and then when the art needs approved. And as you can see, some of these are in red, and this one's telling me that the art has to get approved by tomorrow, so I need to get on this. Notice that this one says various work in progress associated with this design. So if I click on it, I can actually see all the orders that were using this particular design number. So design number 317 was used in order 10523 as well as 10521. And it just happens that it got approved on 10521, but it is not approved on the 10523. So again, a lot of great information here that you can gather from the task board. Let's go ahead and view some more options on the task board under art. The rejected approvals is just that. If somebody rejects it, I'll just go ahead and click on new art. And this is only art that is active, meaning I never completed the art. Because I never completed it, I was never able to email an art approval off to the customer. So this is always going to be considered new art. And look, I've got things back in here from 2020 because it just never progressed. It was at a work in progress, but I never took it any farther than the work in progress. And so it's still active. And I can go in and close those items out. I probably should clean this up, but I just wanted you to see how all art will stay in here. As long as it's associated with an order and it's still at the active stage, well, then it's going to always be considered new art. All right, the next one, send for approval. This is art that I need to send the art approval out for. So I can click on the art progress circle and I can either self-approve, or the other option is I can click on the invoice number and then click on the send icon and send the production approval request out. Since we're here, let's talk about everything that is going to go on the approval request and when you would use the option. So first and foremost, in this particular order, I only have one design going on polo shirts. There's not a second location, there's not a second job, so I probably would leave this on the approve once. If there were multiple jobs or multiple locations, I would turn on the approve every imprint, and that way when the customer got the art approval, they would literally approve each art individually. Whereas the approve once, if I have 3 images, I'm just approving those all in one fell swoop. On the second item, I mostly turn this off unless I have an artwork that is not going on all the apparel items. So for example, let's say I have 500 shirts getting different various locations. So I have some of the 500 shirts getting 4 locations, some of the 500 shirts are getting 3 locations, and then some of the 500 shirts are getting 2 locations. Well, in that sense, I would leave this option on because not only are they approving the art, but they are approving where the art is going. And then on the next option, look, I showed them pricing on the quote stage, so I will absolutely turn this option off because I don't want to discuss pricing again at the time of approving art. What some users do is they will bypass the quote stage and just convert the order automatically to an invoice and show the pricing and the art approval at the same time. If you're doing that, then yes, by all means leave the show pricing on approval on. So what I typically do is I uncheck this box and then this one goes away with this one. All right, the last option is the secure OTP verification. This is the one-time PIN verification, and it is the equivalent of going to your bank's website and your bank saying, hey, we don't recognize the device that you're on, so we're going to send you a one-time PIN, and then you're going to enter that, and then we'll let you into our website. That's what Teesom does. The customer is either going to get emailed or text messaged a one-time PIN, and in order to move the art forward, he has to enter that one-time PIN in. Again, this is overkill for the majority of the art approvals you're going to send. I would use this only if it's a super high dollar amount Or if it's a very complex order, like what we just mentioned a minute ago, where they're getting 500 shirts and some are getting 4 locations, some are getting 3, some are getting 2, and there's color changes and things like that, then yes, I would absolutely turn the secure OTP verification on. All right, the send reminders option, because I need this art approved by 4/6, well, on 4/5, if I still haven't heard from the customer back on the art approval by 12 o'clock p.m., the first reminder is going to automatically go from Teesom. And then if I still haven't heard back from the customer by 4/6 at 2 o'clock p.m., then the second and final reminder will go. So Teesom is going to auto send these reminders. If for some reason you don't want the auto reminders on, you can turn it off here, and this can also be a permanent turn off if you want in the company setup. I really like this feature, and again, these reminders don't go if the customer gets back to me. So if he gets back to me today or Monday, then these reminders will not go. All right, when we click on the preview and send, now it's going to default to sending to the customer's email address. At any time, I can click in here and CC either somebody else within my company, or I can CC somebody else that might be on file for the Oaks Golf Course. I can also attach a file, and then I can also just use the send button to send this email off. But most important, I love this feature where you can type in additional verbiage, and you can type in whatever you want, and then very similar to Word, you can do like a Control B or a Control I. I can even add stars around it to make sure that this is something that the customer sees, whatever it is that I type in there. So, you know, he's going to be used to seeing the verbiage in there, but you want this to stand out a little bit to catch his attention. So when I hit the send button, this is now just going to be directly sent to the customer. If you're still in demo mode, the email will come back to you. So here's what the customer is going to see when he gets the email from you for the production approval. So they're just going to click on the email. Again, they'll see your logo up at the top here. There's that additional verbiage that I typed in, and then they can click on the view approval to view the art approval. Upper left-hand corner, they're going to see your logo. Upper right-hand corner, they're going to see your contact information, because some of your older customers that aren't used to doing things online may get stuck at this point and say, what am I looking at? So we do want them to be able to reach out to us. All right, so up at the top here, look at the build to, the ship to, and then they can see the order is going to be picked up. Here they can see their sales rep, the order due date, the art due date, and then over here, it's going to give them instructions on what they need to do below. All right, so here we've got job 1, embroidered polos, and they can see it's getting embroidery left chest. And if they want, they can actually click on either this little icon or this little icon if they need to like zoom in on the design. So either one, they can do that. And that may be something that you have to explain to them. So maybe you want to walk them through their first art approval that they get. You can use a screen share like Zoom if you want. To do that. If it's an important enough client, I would absolutely do that, and just kind of tell them everything that they're looking for. Once they have reviewed the design, then obviously they can click on the approve option. If they hit reject, they must tell you why they reject it. So they cannot just hit submit without typing something in here, is really what I'm trying to say. So we're just going to approve this one. We'll talk about rejecting in a little bit. I highly recommend that this verbiage get updated. And I'm going to place an image right here that's going to show you where you can update this in the company setup. This should say something to the effect of before you hit the submit button, please make sure all words are spelled correctly. Make sure website and phone numbers are correct. Make sure the colors are correct. Make sure the location is correct. And then inside this box, also, we may want to say what any repercussions are if they do submit the art approval and then 2 days later decide, oh, hey, the phone number's wrong. So what, if any, are the repercussions that they're going to have? Because putting that information in might encourage the customer to really take the time and look at the art approval and make sure it is correct before hitting that submit button. Once they do hit the submit button, they're going to hit got it, and then on your job board, it's now going to have the art approved, and it'll show the green circle around it. So let's go look at that now. So now here on the job board, you can see we have the green circle that the art has been approved. I'm going to move up to the job right above the Oaks Golf Course, and we've got Bill's Windsurf Shop here. And as you can see, I've got 100% on the progress circle for art. But if I hover over it, it says action required. And I can use the action button here and click on send approval request to send that off. But let's go back to the progress circle. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to use the self-approve to move the art forward to say it is approved. And then once I do that, I am going to come into the call out button here, and I'm just going to make a note that I spoke with Bill and he wanted me to go ahead and approve the art on his behalf. This way, if anything happens after the fact that Bill comes to me and says, hey, I never approved that, well, now I've got my little note here to remind me that he told me at the beginning of when we were creating the order that he said he wanted it to be moved forward without him approving the art. All right, there were a couple more things that I want to show you on the task board, so I'm going to go there now. And sticking with the art drop down, I want to show you that on the waiting for approval option, now these are all the orders that I've sent the art approval off to the customer, and I'm just waiting for them to get back. Anytime that I see a circle red, that means we either have passed the art approval date or we're in danger of missing the art approval date. So definitely heed the urgency on that. Let's go move to the recently approved, and that's pretty self-explanatory. This would be any job that was recently approved by the customer, by the way. Notice I did my Bill's Windsurf, I just self-approved, so that did not appear here. It's only when the customer recently approved it. And then on this last option, the no order related art, this one is a tricky one. So I want to make sure you understand that, first of all, these are at the quote stage. But I've done something unique on the quote stage. I made the art move to the active stage. So it's just a way for me to move the art forward without moving the order forward. So let me kind of show you that this is at the quote stage. So let me cancel out of this, and let's go to quotes and invoices. So here's that Keller Williams order. It is at a quote stage, and when I open it, if I now go to the art design info, the only thing I did was move that from inactive, which it typically is at the quote stage, and I moved it to active to, again, let the art department know this is something I want you to start working on. And maybe if I move it to assigned to artist 1, I can now alert whoever artist 1 is to say, look, do me a favor on this particular order. I want to complete the art before I move this order forward as an invoice. So it's just allowing me to tell the art department, start working on something that doesn't really have an active order to it. I hope that makes sense. So just simply moving this to active while it's at the quote stage is going to allow it to appear on the task board like that. Now, I also wanted you to see what that looks like on the artwork list. So here we've got the quote image, and you can see there's no zoom image, no placement image, because again, it's at the active stage, but look what it says here now. No work in progress invoices, but requires attention. And then it shows that I assigned it to artist 1. So this is a way, again, I can get art to appear in the artwork list, but without having an actual invoice associated with it. I hope this helps. Thanks for watching as always, and if you do need additional help, please make sure you use the purple widget in the lower left-hand corner.